Thanks, Anna. Yeah, we just saw there Richard Teece's proud parents. Is the son going to produce a prodigal performance?
Well, you know, I think it's this could be a tide-turning match. You know, if you look at it one way, if it goes the Americans' way, they go up 4-2. If it goes the Europeans' way, they tie it back up and you know, get some momentum going into their next match, which I feel they have a very, very good chance at with Jesper Svensson in the batting circle, if you will. So I think this is going to be a pretty pivotal match for Richie, making his Weber Cup debut.
Let's go.
I think that this match is a bit of a free hit for us again. Chris has been bowling out of his mind. He's one of the best bowlers in the world. He's a two-handed bowler. He's just come off the lane. He's got a pretty good reaction. I feel like this is a free swing for Richie.
And by free swing, Stu, you mean more of throw caution into the wind and just go for it?
Well, he's such a huge underdog in this match. And let's be honest, Chris got pretty fortunate to make that spare in the 10th frame. He missed it. Like, there's no getting around it. He missed it. And he got it. Well, that was a huge turning point in that match because, you know, they were pretty lucky to only leave the 3-6-10. So I'm kind of hoping that some of that's going to come around a little bit. There's been a couple of big breaks in this session. They've gone USA's way. We're hoping that we're going to see a couple of hours the last part of this session.
Well, not the start the Americans wanted. That is pretty obvious.
I think the key for Richie is just to try and get rid of some of the nerves, and just try and make 8 good shots. And if he can get there, I think he's going to be really competitive in this match. There's Richie with his signature celebration.
Richie coming out swinging just the way he wants. He's elected to play further left, use slower speed, and use that nice hand of his to get the ball right back up into the 1-3. Let's see if Chris Vi has an answer. He's going to switch back to that ball he used last match.
Yeah, I never really understand, to be honest, from a one-handed perspective, why two-handers use quick balls. Because I feel like it's the biggest advantage they've got, that they can use those slower reactive balls. Because it just, the quick balls get everybody in so much more trouble.
Yeah, I think maybe Stu, it was something he saw in practice and said, oh, you know, that quicker, cleaner ball is finishing a little harder. That maybe caught his eye a little bit, but he's, after that early open, he's definitely gone back to that slower, smoother reaction ball.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem for Richie. He's going to be, because he's rev rate slower, he's going to be a bit slow with the speed, and then you start to encounter the fronts more, the front part of the lane more. So, like I say, I think this is going to be a battle for Richie, and he's just got to, you know, he's got to tighten those bootstraps and, you know, get ready and get rid of his Weber Cup nerves and, you know, just try and put in a good performance.
Stu, when you were growing up here in England, was the Weber Cup something you came and watched as a youngster?
I was already grown up when the Weber Cup started. I'm 40, Matt. The Weber Cup's only 21 years old.
I thought you were in your 30s.
So an error in his first frame. Striking his second for Chris Vi. Oh dear.
And there is what Chris, I guess, was a little bit scared of. That ball just got a little lazy down the lane on some of the carry down from his teammate, Mr. Doherty. And yeah, we've got ourselves a ball game here. I could see Chris sparing this though. I think this is pretty sparable. I really hope he goes for it, because in this scoring format, the spare isn't really as vital as the count.
Yeah, the count, extremely, extremely important here. Stu, as a professional in Chris's shoes, say you were shooting that, would you just take the 3 for sure?
In this, yeah. In this format, yeah, because 6 spares not really that valuable. Like, he'd have only gained 7 pins, and I mean, I just don't think it's worth it, to be honest. But in a normal match, of course you'd go for it. But in this scoring format, I don't think it's really worth it. I think making sure you get at least 9 every frame is huge. Those 6-1 frames kill you. Okay, that was a pretty good shot by Richie. Like I say, he's going to be battling that. He's going to catch a couple of light hits and stuff, but I felt like he put a really nice stroke on that. He's got to keep his rev rate down to be able to get it through the front part of the lane. And, you know, he makes this spare. He's going to be up 20 after 3 frames. That's nice.
Yeah, I think Richie's doing a great job so far, Stu, of what you talked about, and that's hitting the pocket and filling frames and just kind of letting those rubber cup nerves kind of ease themselves away as he gets further into this match without giving it away with splits and opens.
Yeah, and obviously if Chris is going to keep obliging him, then he's not going to need to do anything different. One thing I have noticed this year, as opposed to the last couple of years, is the 10-pin has really been standing a lot for Team USA. And, I mean, I understand that it's coming from a Wingeon European, but the 10-pin hasn't really stood very much for them in the last couple of Weber Cups. Those shots, those ring 10s have almost not existed at all. So from the European camp, it was a little nice to see that they're having some of the same issues that we have.
The 10 has been missed, but not on this occasion. So, Stu, can I ask you, what about these comments from Tom Dirt? He's quite vocal, isn't he, about how he thinks the Americans won't only win the match, but will completely dominate it. He's controversial and forthright.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's great. He just he says what he thinks, and he doesn't think very much before he says. So, you know, those things happen. I think Richie made a pretty good change there. He got it a little steeper and he got around it a little more and able to keep it coming around. But I mean, on Tom, I feel like me and Tom have 2 pretty similar personalities. We're both pretty aggressive on the lanes and we don't really care about the other people's opinions. So, I mean, I love playing someone like Tom because I'm not really interested in everybody being friends.
It certainly adds a lot of spice, and what we're watching here is a fairy tale story with Richard Teece at the moment. But do not write off Vi.
No, Chris has possibly been one of the top 2 bowlers in the world the last, 18 months, and 4 bad frames isn't going to change him. I'm sure he's going to find a way to put some pressure on Richie coming down the stretch here, and it's up to Richie to step up to the plate.
Yeah, I think so far today, Stu, we've seen kind of the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th frames. That's kind of when matches can change. And we'll see what happens in this match.
Yeah, and there's the difference between having a 500 rev rate and a 330, 350 rev rate, That pin never really looked like it was ever going to hit it, did it, really? With all due respect to Richie coming across, it looked like more sympathy than a viable option.
Yeah, kind of a wry smile on Richie's face. He knows he's got to throw it pretty darn good to get it to face up and go through the pins the right way. But, right now he's doing all the right things.
Absolutely, and while he maintains that 20-pin lead, he just he can afford a miss and he'll still stay in the lead. So, like I say, there's a lot to go, and the lane obviously changes a lot faster than what the guys are used to because we only ball on one lane here, not two.
Get lucky.
Chris really not happy with that one at release point. Looks like he lost his footing.
Yeah, it sounded like the American bench screamed to get lucky. So I guess 9's a pretty good deal out of that, but it's kind of interesting to see them hitting the pocket so much and still leaving the 10 pin. This isn't really what we're used to seeing, either on the Weber Cup lane or on the PBA Tour.
All right.
I think this is a huge shot here for Richie. I think if Richie can throw a strike here and go 31 with 3 frames to go, or 4 frames to go, I'm sorry, that would put him in a really strong position, needing only really one more strike to close it out.
And all things aside, through the first 5 frames, I think Richie has come out with the perspective that he's not going to beat himself this game, and he's going to make Chris beat him.
There we go. I mean, the one thing that Richie's got in his favor in his game is Richie's got a lot of heart and he's a scrapper and he's a fighter. And the worst the lanes get like this is when Richie really thrives. I think you'll see him usually be more successful on the longer patterns because he likes to keep the ball a little closer to the head pin. But like I say, when the scoring pace goes down, Richie's success usually goes up.
Well, no room for manoeuvre now for Chris Vi. He's just not firing.
Yeah, it appeared, coming off the last game, he was putting up strikes, his ball reaction looked good, and now he comes out on the ball change with a split, a miscue in the 3rd frame, and a couple of subpar shots the last time around here, and it's quite the turn of events, Stu.
Yeah, and long may it continue. Let's hope Richie, from a European perspective, can, step through the door here that's been opened and, kind of try and put this match away. Because another strike here, Richie go up 42.
Yeah, and I've always said, Stu, and you bowl a lot more than I do on the tour, but when you have a chance in a match or any type of format, TV show, match play match, when you have the chance to put your opponent down, you want to do it. You don't want to give the other guy another chance.
Yeah, definitely, and Richie kind of avoided a bit of a disaster there. Although the 2-8 has been quite a challenging spare so far in this with the way the pattern is. So no harm, no foul really for Richie. It didn't really change very much for him with the way the count was. He didn't really have an extra miss, so make the spare, stay up by like the 30 pins, and come back with his best shots the last 3 frames.
Now then.
Yeah, the spare shooting for our team this block has been, it's been awful. That's going to be what's really come down to it. I mean, the Americans missed a few early on, but it's not been good from our team.
Stu, have you guys has there just been anything you've been able to pinpoint at why it's been subpar for you guys?
Well, that spare didn't matter so much now. I just think that the pattern's been pretty challenging, and of course with guys not really getting a lot of shots, and you're out for a long time. Like Dom come on and really struggled, but I mean, the second frame, the camera guy started taking the pitches, and he had the click, 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 click as he was halfway down just as he was letting go of it, in fact. And it's just, it sounds like excuses, and it is excuses, but once you start to miss a couple, it kind of gets in your head and everything else. But a strike here for Richie will pretty much put this match away. So come on, Richie.
I've been watching his family intently. They've got so into this match. Can't take their eyes off him, and then the ball goes down. They look down the lane and then explode with emotion when a strike is achieved.
Attaboy, Richie. That was a great shot. Yeah, Mo and Brenda, Richie's parents, are honestly two of the most phenomenal people. They live and die with both their boys, you know, on their bowling and everything they do. Super supportive.
Well, and that just makes it just about nearly impossible for the Americans to dig this one out. Chris Vi can only get to 204, and the Europeans are comfortably in the driver's seat in this game.
Yeah, Richie needs one spare out the last two frames. He needs that 19, and yeah. So the strike here, and I honestly, for me, this is one of the biggest upsets in the Weber Cup in a long time. Richie didn't look like he had that great a ball reaction in the practice session. You know, he closed both frames in the Baker, but he looked a little shaky there. Vi was throwing good shots, and I mean, I don't really know where you go with the American team to chat with Chris about this match. Even that one then, that's a little bit of an easier one to close it out with than the 3-6-10. So it's just so easy to cut one off a little short.
Yeah, and especially, you know, with the pattern only being 38 feet and already a lot of friction on this lane surface. Spare balls are hooking a little more. And it just, I think all those elements creep into your mind and you have a little doubt.
Absolutely no doubt there for Richie. Takes the victory, sets up the match between the two BFFs, Jesper and Kyle, quite nicely.
And for Chris Vi, I think just too little too late on that ball change. He definitely, I think he had the right thought originally going to something a little cleaner, but he went to something too clean, Stu.
Yeah, I think he just didn't trust his process. He had a good ball and he could have probably made it work, but the minute it didn't work, he got out of it, and then when you go backwards in bowling, it doesn't work out very often.
Well, a well-deserved victory lap for Richie Teece. Just stay in the building. And there's a winner.
A surprise victory, but totally and richly deserved. This match is on, ladies.